Here.
Thank you, Jennifer. The agenda's been posted. Let's see, public writing's been distributed. At this time, we'd like to address any public comments, any items that are not on the agenda. And I believe we have someone here. It is Marla Anderson online.
Yes, I am. Good evening, everyone.
Hi.
Hi.
Please state your name and address.
Sure. I'm Marla Anderson, 1420 Granada Avenue, San Marino.
Okay, please proceed.
Okay, I just moved here. I've been a resident of Pasadena, just moved to this location about a month ago, and wanted to discuss the possibility of getting a speed bump or some type of signage to ensure that people are not speeding on our street. We have a 6 to 18-month-old child, and it's quite interesting how people zip around the corner. We live between Huntington and Wilson, and there's a bend that you would think people would slow down, and then right before I guess it's a recreational center, but it's just crazy how people are speeding. And I just think there needs to be additional signage or something to curtail that.
Okay, thank you for your comment. Do we have anything we want to discuss at this time on this?
Could you just clarify, you said you're north of Huntington?
Yes, north of Huntington.
Okay,
So-
on the short piece that runs up to Wilson, between Huntington and Wilson on that one block
Okay.
section.
Yeah, and then it curves around to
Yeah.
Wilson, yeah.
Thank you.
Mhm. And we're right smack dab in the middle of the block. And
Chair
that's
Chang,
a-
I have, oh, go ahead, Chief, you first.
Yeah, we have those two portable speed feedback signs that we can place. We move them from place to place, and we can add that to our list of locations
that would
without a
be-
problem.
That would be great. That would be great.
Did
You can put it right in front of our house too.
A volunteer, that's awesome.
Right. Well, thank you.
Well, thank you, Ms. Anderson. I'm the Director of Parks and Public Works and City Engineer. We have your contact information, so we'll be reaching out to you. If you won't mind, when we do some things there, like the chief suggested, we always like to have a resident there report back to us, give us feedback as to whether things are working. So we've got your contact information, so we'll take care of that, and we'll reach out to you later. Thank you.
Appreciate the consideration and the time. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson. Let's see, moving on, commissioner reports. Do we have any reports from the commissioners on any conferences, meetings they've attended? Okay,
Chair, do I bring up my issue now, or do I wait till new business to talk about? public
yeah,
safety?
let's wait till new business. Commissioner.
Copy that.
Thank you. Okay, before we go to the department reports, just want to acknowledge the mayor and vice mayor are here online, Mayor Udi and Vice Mayor Jakubowski. So welcome.
Thank you.
So moving on to department reports, Police Department Chief and Control, please.
Sorry about that, Chair. I was trying to double or multitask. It wasn't working very well. You have,
Which means you're watching the basketball game.
I am not a basketball fan at all, so it's safe that I'm doing my job today. Chair Chang, Vice Chair, and Public Safety Commissioners, you have my report, and I wanted to just touch on 2 or 3 things that aren't very specific in the report. One is, as you can tell, we have our new police vehicles out in the field. They are fully equipped, and starting next week, we will be adding the license plate reader cameras that have been obtained through a grant for 2018 and 2019, the State Homeland Security Grant. And the first installations will be starting next week. We'll have 1 car being outfitted, takes about 2 days. So we'll be able to get through all of the cars if things come in as we expect in about 4 to 6 weeks. And that'll help us as vehicles are driven, they can find stolen vehicles or vehicles that are wanted for different crimes. The motorcycle officers will be starting next Monday in Sacramento at the California Highway Patrol School. And their training is 2 weeks long. The first week they're driving Harleys just for an orientation of how a motorcycle works. And then they'll be using the BMW motorcycles similar to ours. They have training motorcycles at the academy, which ensures we won't be damaging our brand new motorcycles. The third item that I'm pretty excited about is we will have a new officer graduating from the Sheriff's Academy on May 7th. That ceremony is usually held depending upon what the sheriff wants, but sometimes they're at the Biscayne Center, which is near East LA, and other times they're out in Whittier. Those are ceremonies that are open to the public. I will have more information as it gets closer to May 7th if anyone would like to attend. It's a very nice ceremony. And we have conditional job offers to 2 new recruits. So male and a female that will have to go through the police academy. They're exceptional from what, based upon my last interview, and I'm hoping they finish the final part of the selection process. If you have any specific questions about the report, I am available now.
Any questions for Chief Control? Well, thank you, Chief. Can I get a motion to accept and file the police department report?
I will so move that we accept the police department report.
Thank you, Commissioner Ramirez. Second,
A second that.
and that was Commissioner Firestone. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Moving on to fire department, Chief Rueda, please.
Good evening, Commissioners. You have my written report in front of you, but I did want to touch upon the vaccination program that the fire department was approved for in concert with the county. The program was to target homebound senior residents, and in 40 years in the fire service, I don't know that I've been a part of a more rewarding program. They clearly are the most vulnerable in our community, and I'm really happy the firefighters got out to interact and give them a shot that hopefully will get some of them out of their homes, because some of our residents have been locked up, literally locked up in their homes for the past year, and this this program really allowed us to pay a visit. They didn't have to leave the house and get them the first part of the vaccine regimen, but it's really been a rewarding program. We should be continuing this through their second shots. We did have a number of folks that for whatever reason declined the vaccine and or wanted it scheduled later in the year for a variety of reasons, and it resulted in excess vaccines. So we reached out to the council, the commission, our employees, and no vaccines went to waste. They were put in the arms of either commissioners or employees. So that's been a real positive. The other item I just wanted to touch on was the hiring of our new firefighter recruit, Brent Sawyer. He filled one of our 3 vacancies, and he's been an excellent addition so far. He started in beginning of March, and we still have 2 vacancies we're actively recruiting for and testing for. The health and safety upgrade that was approved in the budget last year is well underway. Floors should be put in the next couple weeks. The kitchen was completed. The plumbing has been completed to move the washer and dryer for protective clothing out to the apparatus floor. So things are coming along, and really pleased we got council support to take care of that. And that concludes my report. If you have any questions, I'm available.
Thank you, Chief Rueda. Any questions for Chief Rueda? Okay, go ahead, Commissioner Bogue. Do you have something? No, okay. All right. Thank you, Chief Rueda, and all your efforts with getting our residents vaccinated. Can I get a motion to receive and file the fire department report? Thank you, Commissioner Bogue. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Ramirez. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Moving on to Parks and Public Works, Director Throne.
Thank you, Chair Chang. You do have an extensive report in front of you, and I'm just going to highlight one exciting action that's going on. We're hoping that next Wednesday, the council will approve a construction agreement with Sully Miller Contracting of Brea to do our street resurfacing project for this year. And should they approve that award of contract, we will be hopefully in construction in the middle of next month or toward the end of the month. We'll have a full-time construction inspector on this project, and that will go a long ways to make sure that the contractor that comes in gets done on time. Other than that, this is a receive and file, and I just want to draw your attention to the 3rd page of my report. If anybody sees anything that's broken or needs to be fixed, there's a multitude of ways to get a hold of us. You can call us at the Public Works headquarters at City Hall. You can call us at Lacey Park. You can email us, or you can use the handy dandy Go Request app that's available on from the Apple and Google store or the Android store. And you can download that and choose City of San Marino. You can also use the city's website to report anything that needs to be repaired or fixed. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Director Throne. Any questions for Director Throne? Okay, seeing none. I get a motion to receive and file the Public Works report. Thank you, Commissioner Ramirez. Second. Okay, that was a tie there. Commissioner Firestone and Commissioner Bogue. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No, okay, motion passes. All right, moving on to new business, approval of minutes. Everyone's read the minutes from our last meeting. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from our last meeting on March 1st? Thank you, Commissioner Ramirez. Can I get a second? Thank you, Commissioner Bozell. All those in favor? Any opposed? Okay, our motion is passed. Okay, moving on to the draft citywide traffic circulation study. This is going to be the study before it's presented to the council. So with that, Director Throne, would you like to proceed?
Yes, I would. Thank you, Chair Chang. About a year and a half ago, the City Council approved a professional contract with Iteris to look at citywide traffic circulation and to develop a neighborhood traffic calming program. We were a little bit delayed due to COVID, but very fortunately, Iteris was able to work through COVID. We actually had collected data already, so that was very fortunate. Because last year traffic patterns were significantly altered. So the data we have that we formed our analyses from is really based on 2019 data, which is the most current realistic and actual data that we have. What I wanted to do tonight was to introduce this item. There's a lot of background information. The appendices are very chock full of technical information about intersection flow. I had wanted to have the commission give us your initial comments on it, on the traffic calming program, on some of the suggested improvements to some of the intersections. I believe there are 5. And then what the department's going to do is we're going to publicize the existence of this study over the next month to see if we can get any public comment on this, in addition to all of the public that's attending the meeting tonight or who might be watching this at a later time. And then I will be bringing this back to you at your May meeting to summarize public comment, see if the commission has any other comments or suggestions on the report. Feel free to take the sketches of some of the intersections and go out and imagine what it would look like to make these improvements, and also think about and review the traffic calming program to see if that's what we would want to be doing. And then after you review this in May, I will be bringing the report and all the public comment to the City Council for their consideration as a receive and file. One of the things that I proactively did was to ask the council to put a placeholder into their upcoming capital improvement program for neighborhood traffic calming program funding, and they have tentatively agreed to that. With me tonight is Deepak Kaushik, who is the project manager for Iteris. I've asked him to run through the report very briefly and to summarize results. And I guess, Jennifer, we would need to allow Deepak to share his screen. Is that correct, Deepak?
Yeah, I think it looks like I can. It's in green.
Okay, all right.
Oh, no, maybe not. I do need the host to allow that.
And then after his presentation, if there's any general comments the commission might have, or just questions on, did you think about this, did you think about that? Deepak's worked on this project since the beginning. He's probably the one with most knowledgeable about it, and we also keep track of these questions so that we can provide follow-up if necessary. So I will turn it over to Deepak.
All right, thanks, Michael. Yeah, Deepak Kaushik with Iteris. I just got a brief presentation on the report and some of the findings, and Michael already touched on some of it, so I'll go through some of these pretty quickly. The project started in mid to late 2019, and we came to the previous commission in February 2020 with the results of existing conditions analysis, and now we're here with the draft report. So our study area that we're looking at is citywide. We looked at 30 intersections, split half and half between signalized intersections and unsignalized intersections, spread out major arterials, major roadways. All of these figures are in the report, by the way. The data, as Michael mentioned, was collected pre-pandemic. So intersection data was on a typical weekday when schools were in session in the fall of 2019, and it included pedestrian counts and bicycle counts, as well as the vehicle volumes. And so with that intersection data, we compile the turning movement counts, and we generate levels of service, which is how an intersection is operating on a grade scale of A through F, A being lowest congestion, free flow, if you will, and F being the worst on the report card in terms of of congestion and delay. And so, the majority of the intersections shown on this graphic in green, at the intersections in green, are LOS A through C, so operating pretty well. But there are a few that are operating at E and F, specifically along San Marino, Sierra Madre. This is the graphic for the AM peak hour. Same graphic now, PM peak hour. There's a few more LOS E's and F's during the evening peak hour, but a lot of the same consistent intersections. And again, this is half of these are signalized intersections, and half of these are the stop control intersections throughout the city. So using this data, we this helps inform where we're looking at improvements that are feasible from a congestion relief standpoint, but also from a traffic calming and safety standpoint. So we've identified 5 locations that are shown on this map here, and I'll just go through real quick the improvements at these 5, and for a few of them we have a couple design plans that have been drawn up, conceptual design plans. So first one, Bedford and Huntington, just west of San Marino. Recommendation of a pedestrian crosswalk here at the east leg, similar to east of San Marino, I believe at Ridgeway and Kenilworth. I think both have something similar where there's a curb extension, a flashing beacon, and a crosswalk and on the south end, reducing the crossing distance is one of the benefits of the curb extension, making the pedestrian more visible to traffic, especially traffic that's about to come in and park at these angle parking spots. So that's Bedford and Huntington. At San Marino, Lorraine, this is the unsignalized intersection, stop control intersection that actually had the highest traffic volumes and was operating at LOSF. So it's an all-way stop in the residential area south of Huntington. So the recommendation here is potentially exploring a traffic signal along with curb extensions, as well as you could see the extension of the curb here to reduce the width of the street, make distances to cross shorter, and improve vehicle delay with the signal. Third one here is at Los Robles Mission. This was also a curb extension recommendation. It's already a signalized intersection. It's at a skew though. There's a long crosswalk on the west leg here, also on the north leg. So curb extensions at 3 of the 4 legs, 3 of the 4 corners would allow for reduced crossing distances, again, making the pedestrian more visible to a vehicle and also reducing the crossing time. So in the traffic signal, the crossing time may be 30 seconds for the flashing don't walk because of the distance. That can be cut down to 20 seconds or something. So it can reduce the vehicle delay as well. So it's kind of sort of a win-win, I guess you could say, for traffic and for vehicles or for pedestrians. Then the other 2, we don't have the design plans for these, but these are Huntington and San Marino, right by the city hall there. Similar recommendation of curb extensions to reduce the crossing distance across Huntington, right in front of city hall there. Again, reducing the flashing don't walk time, which is a real contributor to the long crossing distance. Requires a long flashing don't walk time, which means vehicles are delayed, especially on Huntington, where they have to wait for that signal to time out so that east-west traffic can go. And then at Sierra Madre, Los Robles, to the north of City Hall, another recommendation for new pedestrian crosswalk at an unsignalized intersection, similar to the recommendation at Bedford, which is the RRFB, which is a rectangular rapid flashing beacon control. So in addition to the improvement measures at the intersections, as Michael mentioned, we've developed a traffic calming toolbox for potential countermeasures that would benefit traffic calming on city streets. And we have this implementation plan here. It's a 7-step plan that I won't go through each step here. This is in the report and it's documented, but it really takes the process, just like the woman earlier in the call had a thought of, oh, can you do something about Granada in front of my area? This would fall right into that category of requesting a citizen or a public official requesting a traffic calming measure. That would be step 1. Staff would evaluate, and you'd go through the process of data collection and discussing with stakeholders, developing an action plan, implementing it, and then monitoring it after it's been implemented to see if it's actually solved the problem, solved the issue that we're looking for. And if not, then you go back up to potentially reevaluate again and maybe look at a different countermeasure. So this is a traffic calming process that will help the city handle these requests. And then lastly, we're developing a database for the city, which is going to house traffic counts and all kinds of traffic transportation components of data on a graphical display. So this will include intersections that are signalized, unsignalized, the number of crosswalks, the traffic volumes at intersections, the number of left turn pockets, the length of left turn pockets, so all this data that will be helpful for the city to take and be a kind of a living, breathing document moving forward, where they can update it with new volumes as time goes on. And real quick, we have a short demo of that. Jin O from my office is also on the call, and I'm gonna stop sharing, and she's gonna just show you real quick the that database.
Okay, thank you, Deepak.
Sure.
It says I need a host to
Oh, okay.
allow
we need the
me
host
to share screen. Oh, I got it. Okay.
there you go.
Okay, so in this GIS database, you'll be able to click on any intersection they're interested in and see information such as crosswalks, control type, and approach volumes and turn pocket lengths. Same for the roadways. You'll see the roadway and segment and existence of sidewalks, bike class and parking, and ADT volumes. On top of that, you'll be able to see a PDF version of each traffic counts for AM and PM for different years for each intersection.
Right. So this is when I say it's a living, breathing database, it's really to hand over to the city, Public Works and others to update as, you know, we get out of this pandemic and traffic counts are then collected maybe in 2022, put this in the database, compare it to the 2019 counts. There's not going to be traffic volumes at every one of these roadways and every one of these intersections, but as Public Works gets data, they can update this as necessary. So we're working on this component of the project right now. This is just a demo, but that's kind of two parts. We're doing the traffic report and we're doing this database and wrapping it all up in the next few months. So thank you.
Mhm.
So Chair Chang and Commissioners, this concludes the staff presentation. We're available for any initial questions or comments you might have. And when we complete that, then we will go off and do our public engagement and see you back in May. So Chair Chang, I will turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you, Director Throne and Deepak and Jin from Iteris. Thank you for your presentation. I don't know if all commissioners had a chance to look at this report. There's a lot of data in here. Does anyone have any questions at this time?
No questions, just so encouraging to see it's underway. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Firestone. Go ahead, Commissioner Bogue. I think you're on mute.
Still on mute. There you go.
You're not as, okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it works better this way. I had several questions and a couple of observations. In section 6 of the report, which has to do with collisions and the like, I believe it indicates there have been no collisions that resulted in fatalities. And I'm curious as to how you treated the death of the gentleman who was killed by the street racers. Did you treat that as a non-collision?
This data, well, okay, so this data is actually from the California Highway Patrol and it's through 2018.
Okay,
So
well, all right.
it is,
But
it is a little,
we do in fact have a rather an unfortunate situation where there was a collision or there was an event that resulted in the death of a pedestrian.
right, I think we can.
Okay,
we
I
can
don't care.
definitely-
It doesn't matter
Yeah.
whether you include it or not. I just was curious.
Right.
how you had treated it, and the answer is you didn't treat it. Okay, thank you.
Right.
I had a couple of comments on your suggestions for improvements. I happen to live quite near Bedford and Huntington Drive, and I salute you on your recognition of the crosswalk need there. And I suspect others in my neighborhood would agree. I thought your suggestion might be very helpful in it, and the fact that it has a flashing light crosswalk like the ones further east, I think will make it very effective. So, I was curious about the bulbous sidewalk extensions or corner extensions that you suggested in several of the locations. For example, at Los Robles and Mission, in your design, which I believe you indicated was not to scale. So I'm not sure that those bulbs would really be as large as they appear. But I'm curious, in each one of the cases where you have essentially choked down the road from a wide double lane to quite a narrow passage, is it your expectation that people attempting to turn right will be unable to do that as they do now, where they can pull up parallel to a car that's in the regular lane to make the right turn? Is it your assumption that they'll stay in the same lane, one behind the other, till they get to the corner and then make their turn either left or right?
Right. Yeah, it definitely does reduce even though I'm looking at the intersection right now, for example, in the southbound direction, there's not a dedicated right turn lane, but there's enough pavement to what we call a de facto right turn lane, right?
Absolutely.
So there's enough pavement there today. When you put the curb extensions in, it does preclude the ability for folks to
Okay, so
get
we're going
by.
to choke down that double lane
Yeah.
going through there, and
Yeah.
that will have the effect of actually, well, it may or may not have the effect of reducing the flow, because it will prevent the people who were pulling up to make a right-hand turn from doing that. So they'll have to stay further backed up in the straight line, if I understand correctly.
Right. They're not going to be able to inch forward. Yeah.
Yeah, that may be something that we want to discuss again at a later date, or Michael, you might want to look at, because my recollection is that the residents in that area have expressed concern every chance they've gotten about both the crowding and the volume of traffic blocking their driveways and their access to their homes, as well as concerns over speed. This would certainly address the speed thing, and I suspect it would have a positive effect at the intersection, and maybe be very helpful to the Mission commercial district, which we're trying to improve. But I don't know what the effect might be on the backup of traffic, particularly north from Mission, which is where we've had so many residents express concerns, or at least I think that's where they were. Anyway, just an observation.
One of the things, Commissioner Bogue, that you look at intersections is that the distance a pedestrian has to travel across the intersection.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So by narrowing that down, they're crossing in a much shorter time. By bringing the curbs out, those vehicles that are traveling through the intersection can see the pedestrian much more if the pedestrian is further into the intersection in a protected area like a curb extension. So there are multiple things that go on here. And it's all factored into not only improving the level of service, because the wait times, the pedestrian signal time is reduced because the time it takes for folks to cross is reduced as well. And this is when if this was a project that the council was interested in, we would do a lot more design and analyses to answer like that question of, well, what about the right turns? Because right now, when you have people cheating the lane, they're very close to those pedestrians. And so if you've got someone that's coming up in a lane that's not really there, now, and the pedestrian steps off the curb into their protected, marked crosswalk, that could be a potential collision there, which is obviously something that we don't want. Chief Incontro, do you have, I think you had something that you had some insight into this intersection.
Yes, thank you very much, Director Throne. I'm very pleased by the recommendations of Terrace, and in particular, San Marino between Huntington and Lorraine, for us is a little problematic. I think we're very fortunate that we have not had any pedestrians struck, and more people are walking. During the recent survey that the city put out regarding our budget, there were discussion by some residents about safe ways to walk, whether it be for students or for adults. And one of the primary problems, as Director Throne mentioned, is San Marino is used as a 2-lane road. It's not, it should not be. It should only be a 1-lane road either way. And whether we add curbside striping to slow vehicles down, but I think adding the extended walkways at each corner would slow down vehicles. In particular, I do understand the backups during peak traffic times, and we haven't seen that for a year. And Commissioner Bogue, you make a great point, and I would not want cars idling in front of my house either. But I think safety-wise, it's a great idea. It may be a kind of a way to look at it in a measured approach rather than placing signals that could very well be necessary for that intersection, because we do have vehicles catching speed, and we did have Brentford, I believe, was an issue to us a few years back. So I think that's great. Looking at the other intersections, Bedford with the opening of 2 new businesses in that area on the southeast corner really necessitates a better, safer location for pedestrians. Neighbors near those businesses will be able to walk to the businesses, and it's a very nice area along that 1 block, as we all know, with the restaurants and the other businesses. So I'm pleased with what it is. I'd like to push a little bit more, especially about striping, whether it be on Sierra Madre north of Huntington, or especially San Marino south. And it could be a way to experiment and see what we could do to make the walkability of the city higher and greater, and ensure that we have the safety of those folks that choose to walk in the evening, or walk their dogs, or the kids walking to school, to the middle school, to Valentine and such.
I would just like to add to what the chief said, especially in regards to the Sierra Madre and Robles intersection. I live near that intersection, and that intersection has been the site of many accidents in the past. And I've actually gone before, what was before the public safety, was the traffic commission. And currently, as everyone knows, the traffic flow's kind of been modified there, where you can't make that left turn onto Robles from Sierra Madre, which has helped a little bit. So I'm glad to see the suggestion to put a crosswalk there, because I see, kids going to San Marino High School trying to cross that highway, and boy, it's blind. And if you can do something, slow the traffic down so they can cross safely, I'm all for that. I like that suggestion. And also, as Chief mentioned, the striping, the edging, I think would also help, especially Sierra Madre, San Marino Avenue. That's a main north-south thoroughway through the city. So just like to comment on that.
Chair, if I might, I've got just a couple of other observations that I would hope would be helpful. Michael, in soliciting input from neighbors, I would assume that you will concentrate some of your solicitations on the North Los Robles corridor, because keeping in mind that we've had a number of requests for attention there. I not only live near Bedford and Huntington, but I'm relatively close to Lorraine and San Marino Avenue. I'm not thrilled with the idea of installing a signal there just because it's different. Okay. There's no doubt in my mind that we need to address the congestion at that corner. And I would certainly hope we would consider the suggestion from Chief Incontro to narrow San Marino Avenue so that it's clearly one lane each direction. I think that could do a great deal to be helpful, but with the neighborhood as a whole, but it's not going to do anything about the volume and the speed at which we get people through the intersection. So it may well be that the neighbors there would be comfortable or encouraging about a signal. So again, I would hope you would be able to focus some of your solicitation on the people that are right there around that corner. I'm sure they'll have thoughts and opinions, and but again, I'm very pleased by the suggestions from this report. I think you've addressed a lot of the major issues that we've been facing, and I have to agree that that where you can essentially push the corners out into the street, this bulbing approach, not only does it get shorten the crosswalk, but it also does a good job of helping to formalize parking arrangements, and I think protect the people who are trying to park there a little better. So my congratulations to you. Thanks so much for your work.
Thank you.
Any other comments for Director Throne or Deepak?
There's a comment on the chat.
Oh, okay. Jennifer, can you read that? Can I read it?
I'm not showing a comment on the chat.
Oh, okay, never mind. It was directly to me. Okay, well.
Oh, I see.
That was from me.
Yeah. Okay. I'll just read it out loud, I guess. This question about speed bumps, speed bumps, and that is part of the toolbox. So we haven't recommended any locations for them right now, but it is a countermeasure that would be considered as part of the toolbox on certain types of street. There's a different classification. You wouldn't obviously put them on certain classifications, but based on the city's circulation element and classifications, it could be an option.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay. Any other questions on the draft circulation study? Okay. Like Director Throne said, we'll still have an opportunity to review this and make suggestions before it's presented to the City Council. So thank you again, Director Throne and Deepak and Jen from Ateris. Appreciate your work. Okay, moving on, new business. Let's see. Gene, you want to bring up issue now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. The Public Safety Commission is supposed to act as an advisory board to the City Council and be an advocate for public safety and traffic services with respect to matters relating to public safety, including understanding police and fire operations, etc. Recent actions by our recently elected LA County District Attorney has severely impacted public safety throughout Los Angeles County, which will impact the city of San Marino. It impacts our safety because criminals are not going to be charged now with appropriate crimes. Victims are being victimized again. Crime rates are starting to rise, and it's going to be more difficult to retain and recruit police officers for our city, perhaps. As many of you know, I represent police officers. I teach at one of the local police academies at least 3 times a month. So I'm in constant contact with law enforcement officers from Los Angeles County, and they're very concerned about what is going on with our DA. I've also talked to some residents, some of whom are former members or current members of the district attorney's office, and they have added their concerns regarding what's going on in that office. I started my legal career as a deputy DA for LA County, and I was very proud to have served for several years there, and now I'm concerned. So far, 3 cities have dealt with the issue of voting for no confidence in George Gascon as our district attorney. They are merely advisory votes. They have no force or effect behind them, but I think it's sending a message out there. One of them is Santa Clarita. The next one is the city of Beverly Hills, and currently the city of La Mirada is taking it under advisement. Recently, the district attorney has told the deputy DAs that they are not to attend parole hearings when prisoners are coming up to be determined whether or not they'll be eligible for parole. He's prohibited them from attending. He has reduced severely the hardcore gang unit, narcotic unit. The other day, I had a chance to talk to a friend of mine who heads up a high profile unit referred to as the crimes against police officers. And she is very concerned that her unit is going to be severely defunded and will not be able to protect our officers. Many of the officers I've talked to who currently work in Los Angeles County are certainly considering not being as proactive as they had in the past because they're worried about being prosecuted by the current DA. And they're also considering, some have left to other counties where they feel the district attorneys in those counties are more pro law enforcement. So I bring it up because, again, it's just merely an advisory role to the city council that they may want to consider passing a vote of no confidence. Again, it has no force and effect, but I think it's symbolic of the way people are feeling right now in LA County. And there is currently a recall effort against DA George Gascon. He has to be in office at least 6 months before it goes into effect. So that won't take place until either May or June. But I thought it was serious enough of an issue to bring it forward to the rest of the commission, and certainly welcome your thoughts on that. And I'll open it up for any questions or comments.
I don't, any of the commissioners have a opinion on this?
I would just say I would fully support the pursuit, more information on that recall if possible.
I can certainly research that and get more information.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Ramirez, bringing up this topic. I don't think we're ready to discuss or make any motions tonight regarding this. Perhaps we can talk about it some more at our next meeting. After, as requested, we get some more information. Does anyone have any other ideas on how we can proceed on this? Okay, so why don't we table it for now, and we'll talk about it some more at our next
Sounds good to
meeting.
me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Ramirez. I wanted to bring up the budgets for the 3 departments, police, fire, and public works. I think that's probably going before the council. We did have some suggestions when we reviewed it, I guess, at our last meeting, or maybe, yeah, our last meeting. Do we have any other comments or perhaps a need to meet, have a special meeting to discuss these three budgets before it goes formally to council? Any other commissioners have any thoughts?
Chair Chang, if I could interrupt as everyone is thinking of their questions. Paul, I'm sorry, I'm sleepy. Paul Chung. Paul Chung, thank you very much. Paul Chung has, the finance director, has indicated to me that he will have the budgets for the three departments, part of the Public Safety Commission, available for discussion the week of April 19th. And since I think 2 weeks later, we'll be discussing those same things with all the other city departments at the city council meeting, that, and the council has indicated in the past that they would like the police or the Public Safety Commission to look at and review and make appropriate recommendations prior to city council seeing them. That if possible, we could have a special meeting during that week.
Yes.
Yes, Commissioner Bogue.
Chair, we, to the best of my knowledge, we have not seen any draft budgets, nor have we had any discussion about the budgets for any of the three departments. And I do think it would be valuable for us to be able to do that. So I would certainly, if it's appropriate, I would move that we call a special meeting for the week of the 19th to review those budgets with the three chair department heads and provide input to the city council.
Okay, I think that's probably a good idea that we have a special meeting. Can we set up a day and time now, and then perhaps Jennifer can send out a meeting notice and also the link to the budget so we can review it before the meeting. How about 2 weeks from today, the 19th, at the same time, 7 o'clock? Does that work for everybody?
Okay with me.
If I might, Chair Chang, ask a question of the
Yes.
chief. Our finance director said that it would be available the week of the 19th.
Yes, sir.
So Chair Chang, if you wanted to meet on the 19th, we would have to get documents publicly distributed prior to them being available. So you might want to consider later in the week, maybe
Okay.
Wednesday or Thursday, so that we can make our 72 hours for public noticing.
Okay, that's a good observation. Does Thursday, the 22nd, work for everybody?
Yes, for me, that's a better date. So yes.
How about the other commissioners?
That would work for me, Al Bogue.
Yes, Chairman Chang.
Okay, so
Chair, if I might, as it is a special meeting, you could also change the time if you wanted to meet an hour earlier, if that would be easier for the commissioners. Because it would be a special meeting, so it's got to be specially noticed.
okay. That's fine, 6 o'clock works. Is the 22nd, 6 o'clock Thursday work?
Yes.
That is good.
Yes.
Okay, let's plan that then for Thursday, April 22nd at 6 o'clock. If Jennifer, if you can set that meeting up and also provide the link. Well, let's see. So are we gonna get the link sooner than the 22nd? Or how's the logistics work on that?
By having your meeting on Thursday, believe the latest that we can publish is Tuesday.
Okay.
And whether there will be links or not, or whether we will send you PDFs of everything, we'll have to figure that out. But you'll have the information in the appropriate Brown Act time period.
Okay. Any immediate is fine. Okay, sounds like a plan then. We'll plan to meet at a special meeting on the 22nd at 6 o'clock to discuss the 3 areas of the budget that pertain to public safety. Do I need a motion for that, or do we just, I need a motion? Okay. Al, is that a motion or are you? Okay, Al motions. Thursday, the 22nd, 6 o'clock, we'll have a special meeting to discuss the public safety portion of the budget. Get a second? Thank you, Commissioner Ramirez. All those in favor? Any opposed? Okay, great. We'll meet again on the 22nd. And I believe with that brings us to the end of the agenda, unless somebody has anything else they want to talk about before we adjourn. Okay. Nobody has any questions, then I move to adjourn the meeting till the formal meeting till May 3rd, but we'll be meeting before that to discuss the budget. Okay. All right. Thank you everyone for calling in, and can still catch part of the basketball game.
Appreciate all your help.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Mayor Udi. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
All right, everybody.
Night.
Good night.
They're ending the meeting, so I can say, so they know.